Perfect. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Natalia McKay. I am the lower school counselor at the Science Leadership Academy at Beeber. And today I'll be presenting a little bit of why everyone should choose SLA at Beeber to come here next year. You can go ahead and skip to the next slide. So I wanted to just start off with a few fun facts. So we actually have a middle school and a high school. So when I say I'm the lower school counselor, I primarily work with our middle school students, grades 5 through 8. And then we have 2 high school counselors that work with grades 9 through 12. So when we're talking about admissions today, we're speaking primarily to students who are interested in coming for our middle school, grades 5 through 6 or 5 through 8. And then also students who are interested in coming to our high school. So possibly current 8th graders that are going to be applying for 9th grade. But we do accept students through 12th grade. We are what's called a project-based school, which means that a lot of the assignments that you have at our school are going to be projects. And that could be individual projects, group projects, but instead of our classrooms being set up in rows, we actually work in clumps or little circles, we call them. So in every classroom is a group, little group tables. And so a lot of the work that we do here at SLA is a lot of group work, group-based and projects. Each class has about 25 to 30 students. Our core values are inquiry, research, collaboration, presentation, and reflection. These we focus really heavily on the first month of school. We do all sorts of projects and discussions that are based around those core values and what they mean. Our motto is learn, create, lead. Every student receives an advisor. This is really unique to the SLA community. So when you come here, whether it's 5th grade, 6th grade, 9th or 10th, you receive an advisor, and that advisor stays with you throughout your entire time here at SLA. So that advisor is typically a faculty member. It could be myself as a counselor. It could be a teacher, and they're kind of your go-to person. So if you had specific questions, if parents had questions about things, we usually direct them to the advisor first, and then kind of schedule meetings as necessary. But we have advisory 3 times a week. I'll talk a little bit about that more in a further slide, but that's something unique to our SLA culture. For our lower school students in the middle school, we do have a 30-minute study hall period and then a 30-minute lunch. So that's also something that can be sometimes unique to our school. Every student does get a laptop, which is really common amongst the district schools at this point, and we do not have uniforms. I can go ahead to the next slide. So just a little bit about our admission criteria and the interview process. So our criteria this year is students must have final grades of A's, B's, and 1C. And that's for their 6th and 7th grade final grades on the report card. That's what will be shown on the application. We do have that's actually a 90% attendance rate. I did this before we changed it, but it's a 90% attendance rate. And then the top 50th percentile for both math and ELA PSSA scores. I know there are some criteria schools are doing either, but we are both math and ELA. And then all students will go through a virtual interview. So for the middle school, it's a small group interview that'll be online. And then for the high school, it's usually a one-to-one conversation with a staff member or an alumni of the community. And I can't see that. There you go. That's fine. So just 3 essential questions that we explore in the SLA community. 1, how do we learn? 2, what can we create? And 3, what does it mean to lead? And these are just 3 questions that we explore as teachers and as staff members when we're creating lesson plans and projects. And it's something that we really encourage our students to think about in terms of what are they getting out of these lessons? What are they getting out of working with their group? What is their type of learning style and environment that they work best in? So this is just 3 essential questions that we like to discuss a lot here in our community. Our 3 rules at SLA at Beeber, we just like to share this with everybody, but respect yourself, respect others, and respect SLA as a place of learning. And we keep this pretty broad, but during those first few weeks of school and during something that we call Summer Institute, where we invite incoming students to come over the summer for a few days in the morning just to hear a little bit more about our rules, our culture here at SLA. But we talk a lot about what does that mean? So what does it mean to respect yourself? What does it mean to respect others? What does it mean to respect SLA as a place of learning? So we get a little bit deeper into, what does that mean and what does that look like here at our school? But again, this is something that we cover pretty heavily during those first few weeks of school or during Summer Institute if you're a new student. So advisory, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about. But as I mentioned before, every student is paired with an advisor when they come to our school. Again, they are a teacher or a counselor, a faculty member here. And that advisor stays with you all throughout your time at SLA at Beeber. And during advisory, we typically do a lot of kind of social, emotional lessons, a lot of team building, because that class or that group is going to be with you throughout all of your time. It's just really important that we build that sense of community. We get to know each other really well. I had a 5th grade advisory when I first started here, and now they're in 8th grade. And so it's been really fun for me as a counselor to see them kind of transform and transition over these last 4 years, and to now help them with the high school application process. And I just have, had a lot of teachers and parents reached out with questions and things to me over those 4 years. And we've been able to do a lot of work together as an advisory. We do a lot of fun things. With my advisory, I do like a Friendsgiving every year. So we kind of do a potluck, and parents will bring in food. And so again, it's just an opportunity for you to really bond with your classmates, bond with that advisor of yours, and just really create a sense of community. And that's 3 times a week for 30 minutes. So we do it on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. Mini courses. So this is something that we hold every Wednesday from about 1:30 to 2:45. So your core classes end at essentially 1:15, 1:30, and then we transition into this portion called mini courses, and it goes till the end of the day. So on Wednesdays, I'll show our schedule here in the next few slides, but you are finished at 2:45 on Wednesdays. And these are typically exploratory classes or electives. You do get a grade for them. That can be a little confusing sometimes. You do get a grade, but it's typically people that are, in the community that come to run these programs. So people from Drexel or Penn, or just community members. Sometimes it's parents. But they run all kinds of different mini courses. Some of the really popular ones have been athletic training, canvas painting, photography. Last year there was a sewing elective, a cooking. So it kind of depends. It changes every quarter. So it's something that as students, they get to choose what it is that they want to take. They can choose up to, I think, 3 options, their top 3. And then they're placed in that elective, in that mini course for the entirety of the quarter. So we do switch it based on quarter. And sometimes the availability of the mini course could switch depending on how long that teacher wants to be part of the mini courses, and if they want to do it for the full year or just half of the year. So it does kind of change and switch it up, but those that I mentioned here are pretty common and pretty standard across the entire year. Project Lift. So this is our after school program. This is free for all students, but it's every day from about 3 o'clock or our end of the day, Wednesdays, 2:45 to 5:30. And during this Project Lift, they offer all sorts of tutoring if you need extra help in a class. They'll do some clubs, they'll do intramural sports. So it's just a great opportunity. Some people stay after school because they need to, because their parent can't pick them up till later. But some students also just stay after school so they can be part of those clubs or the intramural sports, or just receive some extra help after school. So again, this is free for all students. And for us, Project Lift actually starts on Monday. So sometimes it takes us a little bit in the beginning of the year to get it rolling. But once we do, it's every day until about 5:30. So this is an example of our schedule. Our schedule is a little different, and it can be really hard to understand at first. And so we know that as teachers, we can be a little flexible, but it's called a waterfall schedule. So we do go by what we call bands. So you can see on Monday, we start off with A bands, then we move into B, then we have that advisory time that I mentioned, into lunch, and then Y, C, and D band. So almost every day you'll have about 5 classes or so, including that advisory time. And then you can see into Tuesday, we start with E band, and then we go right back through. So then we go to A, then we go to Y, lunch, B, C, then D, E. So that's kind of why we call it a waterfall. Again, it's really confusing at first, but one of the reasons why we do this type of schedule is so you don't have the same class every day at the same time, right? So I can remember, personally, I used to have math first period every morning, and I am already not the best at math, and having it first period as I'm just trying to, wake up and start my day, it was a little stressful. I wasn't totally ready. I wasn't, into my day yet. And so that just was a little added difficulty for me having it every day first period. So the reason why we do this waterfall schedule is so while yes, you'll have math, for example, every day, you'll have it at a different time. So Monday you might have it first period, but Tuesday you'd have it second. Wednesday you'd have it third. Thursday you'd have it at the end of the day. So just to try and switch things up a little bit. Again, it's a confusing schedule at first, but we do a lot of work with this and trying to help students to understand when their classes are. And it's something that we kind of tape on our laptops. We put it on a folder or something. That way, we can get the hang of it through the first few weeks of school. All right. So these are just some upcoming tours and open house. So we're holding small group tours every Tuesday until the 24th of October from 9 to 10 a.m. There is a link to sign up on our website. It's linked here. We did have an open house on the 21st, but we have another upcoming, we're calling it a recruitment day, an open house on October 21st. And we're really pushing students and families to come out for this. We have a DJ. We're going to be having food trucks. So we're calling it almost like a mini carnival. We're going to be doing like an engineering demonstration, robotics. We'll have a lot of hands-on activities for students to engage in, and teachers will be here, alumni, students. So it'll be a great opportunity for you to come and get to know a little bit about our school and meet some of the students that are currently here. We'll also be holding tours during that time. So if that Tuesday, between 9 and 10 doesn't really work for you, then we really encourage you to come to our recruitment fair and open house. So that way you can learn a little bit more about our school and still get that tour in there. And lastly, so what do our families like about our school? So one of the biggest things, like I have been talking about, is that advisory time. It's really helpful for families, for parents to know that this is their go-to person. If they have a question about anything, if they're confused about something, if they're not even sure who to reach out to, that is their go-to person. And then the advisors know, we collaborate all the time trying to help families to figure out who's the right person to talk to about things or schedule meetings. So they really like that advisory time. And it's just an awesome opportunity for students to, again, kind of create a tight bond with their advisory group. Our community. So we have what's called an ethics of care policy where we really look out for one another. So, we believe that, of course, academics are really, really important. We also do kind of just watch out, if we see a student that's not feeling too great or has been down for a few weeks, we really encourage other students to, see something, say something, to just look out for one another and check in with each other. During that advisory time, every other week, we do check-ins with our advisors. And so the students will just have an opportunity to check in and share anything that might be going on at home that we should know about, anything that's going on in the community that might be, bothering them. So it's just a great opportunity to share. Diversity, we have students who come from all over the city of Philadelphia. So it creates a really diverse community. We have students from South Philly, from West Philly, Northeast Philly, all over the place. And so it's great to have kind of a mix of students from all over the city. And then we're, again, what's called project-based learning. So we teach students how to collaborate and really work together, which is an essential skill for the future. I always tell students that you might be in a group with people who you don't necessarily get along with or you don't work well with, and that's okay. That's part of what we talk about is how can we still, get this project accomplished? How can we practice some of these skills like patience and understanding and empathy that we work on in advisory, even in a situation where we might have to partner with someone or work with someone that we don't necessarily get along with. And again, this is just an essential skill. We always like to prepare students that for whatever career they may choose in the future, they might run into that barrier. They might run into that issue where they're having to work with someone that they don't necessarily vibe with, and that's okay. So we really focus a lot on how can we help students to just support one another and work together as well as they can. And then mini courses, again, that's really unique to the SLA community. And parents just like the fact that the child gets an opportunity to choose what it is that they're interested in. And again, because it changes every quarter, they're able to try a few different things. So for example, if there's a student who's really into photography, it gives them an opportunity to try out photography, and they might do it and realize, this isn't really my thing. Maybe next, quarter, I'm going to try sewing, or I'm going to try athletic training and try something different. So it's that exploratory time for students to try some different courses and pathways that might interest them in terms of future careers or jobs. All right. Thank you so much for listening. I know I'm a fast talker, so I appreciate you for kind of bearing with me. If you have any questions, my email is up here, but I think we're going to open it up now for a little question and answer.